everybody, I want to be the first one to welcome you to our New Psalmist YouTube page. You can come here and hang out and find content that's going to help you grow. Every week we're going to be uploading new material. So if you just need some time and some space to get your head together, to think through some things, and to have a word speak to you, you come here. Now subscribe now.
Come worship at New Psalmist Baptist Church on Sunday mornings at 7:15, 9:30, or 12 noon. Experience life-changing worship and impactful preaching from our pastor, Bishop Walter Thomas. For more information, go to our website, www.newpsalmist.org, or call 410-945-3000.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Empowering Disciples broadcast. Each week we bring you messages preached by our pastor, Bishop Walter Scott Thomas, and we're going to go to one of those messages now.
Secret in it that God has been good to Israel. God has brought Israel a mighty long way. He's brought them out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, delivered them from one captivity after another, set them free from one trial after another. But every time God delivered them, the deliverance was short-lived. They seemingly went back to where they had come from. Those that doubted, doubted again. Those that were arrogant again. There was a spirit, if not individuals, there was a spirit in the land that corrupted the minds and thoughts of people. And even though God was blessing, God had to deliver. And he had to deliver because the children of Israel kept winding up in one form of bondage or another. But each and every time, the psalmist will record, God lifted them up. God set them free. God showed them mercy. Have you ever wondered how much more mercy God might show you? Have you ever wondered to yourself, have you crossed that sacred line? Have you gone too far? Is this going to be the big one? Is God going to take me down this time? Well, for 70 verses almost, the psalmist records how God lifts up the fallen, blesses those that fall by the wayside, and redeems those that are lost. But then around verse number 68, he drops this little inclusion as he reaches down near the end of the psalm. His mood changes, his tone is elevated, and he says, but let me tell you, God chose one tribe, Judah. And out of that tribe, he chose one person, David. Took him from the sheep pen and led him to be shepherd of the nation. And David, oh God, and David shepherded the nation, shepherded them with integrity of heart and with skillfulness of hand. The psalm ends on that. There is no need to keep reciting the ups and downs, because what the psalmist wants to tell us is there is a way to break the cycle. Oh God, somebody missed that. There's a way to break a cycle. And what the psalmist is trying to tell us is no matter how bad it gets, God can turn it around. I wish I had 3 people in church who are a living witness that God will turn it around. But Tony, this is the thing that gets me the most. The psalmist wants us to really realize that there comes a moment in the lives of nobodies when God makes them somebodies. Child, if that doesn't make you shout, I don't know what will. Because most of us did not grow up with a silver spoon in our mouths. Most of us did not grow up getting everything we wanted. Most of us grew up wondering if we would ever have great opportunities, if doors would ever open for us. And God says, you just don't know who I am. But once I set foot in your life, I take nobodies and make them somebodies. I take folk who are down and lift them up. Oh God, I feel like preaching now. I take broken people and put them so together that everybody wants to just come by and see how they got over. There are about 20 people in church this morning who ought to walk around with a sign on their chest that says, "The Lord brought me from a mighty long way." There are about 20 people in church who ought to have a sign on their chest that says, "If it had not been for the Lord on my side." There are about 20 people, I think some of them are standing right now, who ought to be running around this church with a sign on saying, "Nobody but Jesus. Nobody but Jesus can take me from nowhere and put me somewhere. Take me from being forgotten, ignored, looked over, rejected, and take me to the head of the class. Help me, somebody." Darius, that's the line on David. Let me read it again. He chose David, his servant, and took him from the sheep pens. From tending the sheep, he brought him to be the shepherd of his people Jacob. My God, took him from the sheep pens and put him in the palace. Somebody in here who's doing good, where has God brought you from? When he chose you, where were you? God, that ought to be a dance right there. Some of y'all know you were broke, busted, and disgusted. You were in the dumps, you were feeling down, but where were you when God laid his hand on you? Did you have pigtails? Did you have Dixie Pete? Did you have sulfate in your hair? Were you walking around with jellies on your feet? Where were you when God said, "I'm taking you from nowhere and I'm going to put you somewhere"? David, he takes from the sheepfold and makes him king. But let me help you understand something. You can get some stuff you can't keep. Uh-oh, Tip got quiet on that one. I've learned a lot of folk want stuff, but can't keep it once they get it. I didn't understand that till I looked at the text, and David shepherded them with integrity of heart and skillful hand. He led them. He's the second king of the nation. He replaces Saul, the first king of Israel. He unites the tribes. He ushers in a golden era. He defeats the Philistines and all of the enemies that come against Israel. He wipes them out one by one until Israel is standing premier in the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East. He is the king who everyone sings about and lauds and plauds. David is somebody. But wait a minute, did y'all hear where God took him from? God didn't take him from the Wharton School of Business. God didn't take him from the Robert Smith School at University of Maryland. God didn't take him from Government and Politics 5. He took David from watching sheep and made him a king. Now, let me tell you why this is critical. Because some of y'all can't see yourselves being kings and queens. And God sent me in here on this Sunday in African American history to tell you, stop doubting what he plans for your life. God, you didn't hear that. If you did, you jump up and shout. Some of y'all can't see yourself in new places. God sent me in here this morning to preach this word, to tell you you're coming from the sheepfold to the palace, telling you you're coming from nowhere to somewhere, telling you you're coming from obscurity to prominence, telling you you're coming from failure to coming up all the way to the high heights of a brand new future. God sent me in here to tell you that a new day is dawning in your life, a new day with new capabilities, new opportunities, new requirements. God is saying that's coming to you, and you will not fail. I want to preach this differently than the earlier service. I need you to look at the person beside you, because this is the word, Gary, that folk have not heard. Look at the person beside you and say, you will not fail. Oh, God, y'all, let me come over here. I think this crowd might have it a little bit. Look at somebody and say, you will not fail. You came out the ghetto. You came with a brother in jail, a sister that got shot, a mama that wasn't there, and a daddy that left. But you will not fail. You didn't have two nickels to rub together to make a dime, but you will not fail. You did not have the college opportunity, but you will not fail. You did not get this, that, and or the other, but you will not fail. Everything you lay your hand to will come to pass. Whatever you try, you will accomplish. You will not fail. I need 20 people in here to claim that. I will not fail. I will not fail. I will not fall. I will not collapse. I will not give up. I will not give in, because this verse is my verse. From the sheepfold to the palace. And Candace, he did not fail. I want to talk to folk who are tired of being failures. I want to talk to some folk who are tired of failing, tired of acting like failure is your, I don't know, I never will, I never, get off it. God sent me in here to preach to you this morning, to tell you he has chosen you. He has laid his hand on you, and you will not fail. And David has absolutely no training, non-tipper, no training in being a king. No training in being. I've heard a person say, I didn't have a mama, I didn't have a daddy, I don't really know how. David said, I had no training in this, but I ain't failed. Instead, I used to hear Vernon Dobson quote this, he's pastor of Union Baptist. He guided them with the integrity of his heart and the skillfulness of his hand. I need you to slap, I got so much time, okay. I need you to slap five with the person beside you, put a Cheshire cat smile on your face, and say, baby, I got skills. Pow! Look at the person on the other side of you. Say, there's a whole lot of stuff I ain't got, but I got skills. Hey, I got some skills. Y'all ought to shout on them skills. You ought to praise God. Those skills put food on the table. Those skills kept a roof over that head. Those skills drove your car. That skills got you to where you are.
Still to come on Empowering Disciples.
Really want to know how to make it from nowhere to somewhere. When God elevates you, then you have to understand, you have to give God time to reprogram your mind. You have to let him reprogram your mind. Slap five with somebody. Tell him, reprogram your mind.
Come worship at New Psalmist Baptist Church on Sunday mornings at 7:15, 9:30, or 12 noon. Experience life-changing worship and impactful preaching from our pastor, Bishop Walter Thomas. For more information, go to our website, www.newpsalmist.org or call 410-945-3000.
Hey everybody, I want to be the first one to welcome you to our New Psalmist YouTube page. You can come here and hang out and find content that's going to help you grow. Every week we're going to be uploading new material. So if you just need some time and some space to get your head together, to think through some things, and to have a word speak to you, you come here. Now subscribe now.
I'm not going to fail. David, help me understand something. Help me understand what it takes to make it. Help me understand how a boy who is the seventh son of a father who does not always include him. Help me understand how a boy who is often put down by his brothers. Help me to understand how a boy who never had a full-time job outside watching some sheep can run a government. How did you get in this and handle it so well when truthfully you weren't even trained for it? This is African American History Month, so I get away saying this. Most of us weren't trained to succeed against racism. We were just trained to survive it. I think that went over some people's head. We weren't trained to succeed against racism. We were just trained to survive it, to get home without getting lynched, to get home without being arrested. You know, all those rules you learn about keep your hands on the steering wheel, that wasn't so you succeed, that's so you survive. How did you get where you are? Past surviving to succeeding. And you had no teacher. Nobody taught you how to be bold when it comes to racism and sexism. They taught you how to be bold with Skippy and Ray Ray, but not against institutional oppression. I need to see the hands of folk who know you have bucked up against institutions. Ain't nobody teach you how to handle that. David, help me understand how you went from a nobody in Bethlehem to a person people are singing songs about. How you do that? David said, you don't get it. David said, listen, you got to stretch across the centuries and grab a word from the Apostle Paul and bring it back to Bethlehem. He said, the only way to be great and succeed, and that's somebody say, get this. Say, you can't do it believing that you ain't nothing. The only way to get to where you need to go so God can use you when you get there is God's got to retrain your mind. I need you to nudge somebody and say, he's got to retrain the way you think. You cannot see yourself the way you used to see yourself. Uh-oh, I'm going to hurt you. And you cannot see yourself the way the world tells you you need to look. Paul put it this way. Paul said, be not conformed to this world. Do not put yourself in agreement with the patterns of this world. Do not go along with the concerns of this world. Do not follow the path of this world. But this is the one you got to get. Do not accept the conclusions of this world. This world said you are 3/5 of a person. This world said you came out the ghetto and you would never be anything. This world said you black, get back. But the devil is a liar. here. Paul said, do not conform to this. I don't care what you up against. Do not conform. David said, I had to learn not to conform, but be transformed. God, I wish I had 3 people in here who understand transformation. Remember, on the first hand, he says, conform, be like. Then he says, transform, be absolutely different. Now, he says, the way I got to transform wasn't that happened to me, but God renewed my mind. Once my mind became new, I looked new, I acted new, I thought new, I did new. Grab somebody, tell them it's all in your head. It's all in your head. David, how did you do it? God, I feel like preaching this thing. David said, let me tell you, Walter. He says, if you really want to let God use you, if you really want to know how to make it from nowhere to somewhere when God elevates you, then you have to understand, you have to give God time to reprogram your mind. You have to let him reprogram your mind. Slap 5 with somebody. Tell him, reprogram your mind. Now, this is the one you got to get. You got to get this one. Uncle Joe, this is because I'd almost missed it. David, the sweet singer of Israel, grows up rejected. Remember when Samuel came to the house looking for the next king of Israel? His father told all his boys to dress up and smell good except one. And he left David out in the fields. They didn't even go get him. Samuel said, do you have anybody else? He said, yeah, I got this little boy out there. Go get him. When David goes into the camp to fight, or rather to take some food to his brothers and find that they're running from Goliath, he gets to talking with folk, and his brother comes over there and puts him on public blast, lays him out in front of everybody. His brother is much older and says, who do you think you are, coming in here talking all that stuff? David is a rejected, put down person. But notice what the text says. He leads them with the integrity of his heart and the skillfulness of his hand. I asked him, I said, David, how did you get from being put down to being pulled up? David says, simple, I had to reprogram my mind. Said, God reprogrammed the way I think. And this is it, JD. It took me a while to get it. See, David worked out in the fields. And when you work by yourself, out in the fields, or whenever you are by yourself, your mind can have a tendency to wear out every issue you are dealing with. If I have anybody in here who knows that when you are by yourself, sometimes your mind can give you an absolute fit. Come on, come on. If you're with me, just say amen. Can I develop the idea of something? D, that's why when the snow comes real bad and we get these high mountains of snow and folk can't go to work and children can't go to school, it's a terrible moment for a lot of people. Now, some of us say, hey, I got the day off. Let me roll over and go to sleep. But for a lot of people, it's a terrible day. And let me tell you why it's a terrible day. Going to work gives them a place to hide. They don't have to think. They're doing the job. But when they're home in the house with the television off, because the electricity gone, and there's nobody in there, their mind has nowhere to hide. Now they got to deal with all the issues they've been trying to avoid. Anybody ever been where I'm talking about? Where you couldn't hide from issues in your head. Come on, I'm put you on blast. Wave at me if you've been there. And nudge the person beside and say, put your hand up before I put it up for you. Wave them in the air. Why? Because when you're by yourself, your mind has a tendency to mess you up. Am I right? It brings up every hurt, everything somebody's done to you, what didn't go right, how somebody took your toys when you were 5 years old, how Skippy ran out on you, how Sally hurt your heart, how somebody stole your money and didn't pay you back. Because in private, the mind is trying to reconcile all the things it is hurting over and upset about. But David said, when you let God renew your mind, what God does is he does not allow your disappointments to feed your frustrations. He does not allow your disappointments to fuel your depression. Have you ever noticed when God is really working at you, you can try to be depressed and God won't let you be depressed? Why? Because he is renewing your mind. He is taking your failures and showing you your faith. He is taking your disappointments and showing you how you can rise above them. Do I have anybody in church who knows that God has not allowed your disappointments to fuel your depression? God has let this happen and that happen. And God says, instead of being depressed, I'm going to lift you up. I'm going to stand you up and let you know you are not in this thing by yourself, that I am renewing your mind. I am changing the way you think and changing the way you see stuff and changing the way you interpret things and changing the way you handle stuff. I dare you, slap five with somebody and tell them he is renewing my mind. He is scrubbing my hard drive. He is replacing my disk. He is changing my memory cards because he is giving me a new mind.
I pray that that message blessed you. We encourage you to go to our website, newpsalmist.org, so you can learn more about our ministry and more about our pastor and ways that you can get involved in ministry as well. Also, go to our YouTube channel so you can see more sermons preached by Bishop Walter Thomas and other ministry materials of the church. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week, same time, same station. Until then, be blessed.
Come worship at New Psalmist Baptist Church on Sunday mornings at 7:15, 9:30, or 12 noon. Experience life-changing worship and impactful preaching from our pastor, Bishop Walter Thomas. For more information, go to our website, www.newpsalmist.org, or call 410-945-3000.
Hey everybody, I want to be the first one to welcome you to our New Psalmist YouTube page. You can come here and hang out and find content that's going to help you grow. Every week we're going to be uploading new material. So if you just need some time and some space to get your head together, to think through some things, and to have a word speak to you, you come here. Now subscribe now.